Live from the Jump Television Studios in sunny San Diego, California, Biz Brew is on the air. YouToo America Network. Go to YouTooAmerica.com. 65 million homes strong every day. And yes, if you're on the East Coast, we play right. You're watching us right now. We also play at 11 o'clock tonight, and then again at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you're on the West Coast, 5 p.m., 8 p.m., and 8 a.m. the following day. But good to have you along today. I'm Sully. Look at me. That is not Rusty Nailz, and that's Kyle Harrington. And I think we're all very glad, as I said before, that Rusty Nailz is out of the studio for a day. I feel so much like we're getting work done. Don't you feel like we're getting? You've been a guest on the show. Don't you feel like we're actually getting something accomplished today?
We are.
Last week, I had the pleasure to meet a gentleman named Stretch Fowler. Stretch Fowler is the executive director of a company called 2050 Motors. They are publicly traded under the stock symbol ETFM. ETFM is their stock symbol. 2050motors.com is their website. Here is the deal. They're a publicly traded company, and what's interesting about this is they have been successful in coming up with some of the most cutting-edge development and production of the next generation of clean, lightweight, efficient vehicles. And guess what? They are a company that is doing business with where? China. And guess what? China has successfully manufactured this great car, and 2050 is the only place you can buy it. Stretch, thanks for coming in, man. Good to talk to you.
How you doing? Great to see you.
All right. So here's the deal. Take us from the beginning, because there's some video I want to show. There's a crash that we talked about earlier in the program. There's some other footage. Russ T. Nailz, by the way, was interviewed on our other program. Stretch out in the back, so you can see some of these vehicles. So tell us about the company. Talk to us from top to bottom real quick.
Well, basically 3.5 years ago, and nice to see you then, Cal.
You
nice
too?
to meet you. 3.5 years ago, we actually signed the contract, but everything started like 8 years ago in China with the Dongfeng Motors. It's like the General Motors. They build and distribute 4 million cars and trucks a year. They started a small division called Oxine to develop and become the largest electric vehicle car manufacturer in the world. And when China says they're going to become big, they become big.
Right.
That started 8 years ago, the idea. So 3.5 years ago, we signed the contract with Oxine as the exclusive distributor, manufacturer, if we want, but we're not, and assembly with this car. The red Ego, and of course the IBIS will be developed in maybe a year or two down the road.
So it's interesting, it's not just an EV, it's not just an electrical vehicle. It's much more than that because of the way you manufacture it, right? And so there's something pretty significant about this as far as safety goes, and as far as efficiency goes. Talk about that.
Here's what happened, Sully, is that the Italian engineers came in, the Italian designers came in, and they put together a nice design car with carbon fiber. So the lady out in the back I was just speaking to said, oh, my friend of mine has a Porsche that has a hood, carbon fiber. The airplanes we fly in, carbon fiber. This is an all body, only one in the world, all body carbon fiber, 5 times stronger than steel, 3 times lighter.
How do you like that?
Wow. Okay,
so now what does that translate to as far as, and I know that we're going to play a segment that Russ was on here in a little bit, but what it translates to is the batteries in a Tesla weigh X amount, and your whole car weighs the same amount. Talk to us. I know you're going to get to that, but I want to jump and have you talk about it.
I made that point that the Ego, the red car that we just showed on the screen there, that car itself, carbon fiber, aluminum extruded alloy frame, 1,450 pound curb weight. The battery pack in the Tesla Model X weighs 1,500 pounds, just the battery.
So just the battery. So this whole car there, that's the Ego
that
right
car
there?
That's right, Sully. That car there weighs 1,450 to 1,500 curb weight. It's just an unbelievably strong, durable car, efficient because of the lightweight. And so again, a battery pack in here, as I started to say last week and with Russ, this battery pack here will probably run this car over 150 miles. We have 3 different battery packs. So because we're in Vegas, we have the commuter market. We also have speed. This will go up to 90 miles per hour. And so you have efficiency, speed, durability, and long-lasting safety.
The other issue is safety. And we have a video here, and I want you to describe this as it's happening. We have a slow motion video of a 35-mile-an-hour crash this Ego. Guys, can we tee that up and let him? So describe what's happening here. That's slow motion, right?
Now this is the finest testing facility in China. 35 miles per hour. Watch the test dummy. Watch the immediate airbag. There you go.
How bad is that? right?
How bad is that?
Now you're going to see the car here in just one. If you guys can replay that just 1 second, I want you to see just how bad this crash is again. If there's a way that we can replay that, because what I want you to see here, and this is slow motion by the way, okay? But the whole car gets lifted up from behind, all right? And look at the impact in the front right. Okay, see it crumple? Now, if you'll notice as it drops down, it's in the same shape it is when it started. And here's the proof. Do we have the photograph? Okay, what you see there, see the black spots? That's just paint chipping off there. But basically, it's held the same shape, right?
Sully, we have not, that's an actual photograph of the car. We haven't touched it, Cal. Haven't touched that car. But you can see it came back to its original shape and form. Show me a car in the world that can hit a wall at 35 miles an hour and not crumple.
So basically, you pop that, the one pop in, but then the passenger side, and you repaint it, and you get the car back.
Exactly.
And as far as safety goes, getting these cars into the U.S. What's next? Getting it DOT compliant, because that's sort of the next step, correct?
That is the next step, because Sully, when you deal with a startup, and that's what this is, a startup situation, you have 5 milestones. The first thing is design. We talked about Italian design, component, carbon fiber. Now we need a network. We already have the network set up in Las Vegas and in the Southwest states. And the next step is the crash test you just saw passed the European, Japan, and China standards. Our next step is to get 8 of those cars in here late summer, put them out here to our crash testing facility, find us in the North America continent, roll them, because we haven't rolled it yet, and then you'll have a crash tested vehicle, safest one on the road, ready for the public.
Now, Stretch, the car takes its form relatively, it takes it back after the crash. And the reason why that is because of the carbon fiber body? Is that what it is?
The flexibility, that crash impact came in and then it just came right back. Normally a crash will come in, crumple, and crush the driver. The body energy was able to take this, to withstand that crash, the energy, and then come right back out.
2050 Motors is the name of the company, 2050motors.com. They are publicly traded. ETFM is their stock symbol. What's interesting is the company that created these cars that you have an exclusive right to sell here in the U.S. has 3 firsts in China. One of which is the way that they formed this high temperature, high pressure, vacuum sealed, or vacuum assembled carbon fiber.
That's right.
The other one was, isn't this the first electric car produced, or the first electric car aluminum chassis in China? There was a couple of firsts here that happened.
That's correct. That's exactly right.
And I think one of the issues here is if you think in terms of the market in the U.S., you're competing directly with Tesla. Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that. I think because there's some significant differences here. Now, Tesla, stock symbol TSLA, obviously took the market over with really no competition, and then suddenly you've got this carbon fiber car that's lighter, that can go stronger, and is and if I'm not mistaken, cheaper to build in a retail plant.
Absolutely right.
Talk about all that for us.
Absolutely right. What you have here is that we're not going to compete with Tesla. I mean, we applaud them. They did a great job of this young man, Mr. Musk, brought out a great car. What we're talking about here is a situation that we feel that at the right time, at the right place where we just arrived, that we will have the car that should compete in that price range, the middle America price range,
yeah.
the 25,000 to 40,000.
Okay.
Now he's representing that he's going to build the factory and have it ready to go in 2017. I have proof, or not proof, but I have Morgan Stanley reports and so forth saying that we may not see a car till 2018. We have a factory ready to go. All we have to do is get these cars crash tested. We're on the market with our car probably within a year.
When we come back from the break in a few minutes, we're going to have Russ Nailz was in the back of the studio just a couple days ago on our other program, and he actually walked us through with Stretch the Ego. Now you got 2 car models here. You have the Ego, which is the red car, and that seats 4 people or 5 people.
That's the 4 small one, yes.
And then and you said how long does that battery still last for?
Well, that battery pack is a 10-year warranty, unlimited mileage.
And how far can I drive that thing?
Well, we have 3 different battery packs: 100, 150, over 200.
200 miles. Wow. How long does it take to charge these things?
We can do it at home overnight.
Okay.
You can do it at a quick charge for 3 or 4 hours. And probably, if you really want to boost it, you can do it in a couple hours.
Well, I guess my question is going to be from the very start is the DOT, because the only thing you have to do here is make them U.S. ready. How far apart is that from in other words, where the Chinese car, where they make them right now versus where the DOT, Department of Transportation, wants us to be as far as safety standards go? How far apart is that?
Later on, we're going to see the manufacturer that was built, the plant that was built in Yangqing, city in Yangqing. We are right now, the crash testing that we just saw, all the engineers now have looked at joints, looked at the joints, looked at all the basic. Now they're making the improvements in the molds.
Right.
The molds are the most important thing that go into the stamping machines to make the carbon fiber parts.
Okay.
So those have all been rechecked now since this happened, Sully. And so right now, the plan to start up, we'll make 24 of these cars probably in July, August.
Right.
We get 8 of them.
Right.
8 of them to come here to crash test here. They will finish up, once again, the same crash test. They'll repeat that to show the China government, because they really are concerned. They don't want any product out of the market now that's not going to have the finest ability to crash test and be safe.
As we go into the break, I want you to see this quick video that was aired on Chinese television to kind of show you the ribbon cutting. And you can describe this real quick. Guys, can we throw that up here just for a second, Murph? Can we toss that up there?
This is January last year, 2015. This is the Central Secretary, the gentleman you saw, a quick shot of me right there. This shot right here, this is the only major China station. This was seen by millions upon millions of people. There's the car. There's the assembly line. Now we just need to get this one final fine tuning done by July. We'll have those days, we'll have our market.
Well, I think the interesting part about that is you got proof of concept in a pretty big country already. And to bring them here to the US, obviously the metrics are all there and there's proof of concept here already. So now you've got a car that is bigger, better, smaller, better, faster, stronger, cheaper, and safer than what you have in the market here. His name is Stretch Fowler. He's the executive director of 2050 Motors, 2050motors.com, their stock symbol ETFM. More from Stretch, and Kyle scratches his head here. Kyle's got some questions. Stand by, we're back in a second. You're watching the video of the manufacturing facility in China for 2050 Motors, 2050motors.com. ETFM is the stock symbol. They are publicly traded. In studio, Stretch Fowler's with us, the executive director of the company. Of course, Kyle Harrington is filling in for Russ T. Nailz. And guys, tell me what we're seeing here, pal.
Well, basically, this was a vacant field that now is, sorry, Cal, I called you Cal, Kyle, I called you Kyle. Kyle,
Go
right
see
there.
Kyle.
I've been called worse.
Okay, Kyle. They're right here. There's your robotic machines. Okay, that will build the all aluminum alloy frames. Okay, this is a total manufacturing facility. It's going to be shifted up to 22 vehicles, 22,000 vehicles. They corrected that already. That's the tower out in front. So basically, the manufacturing company has been built, plant done, and they built the first 24 cars last year. They crash tested them. Now they're going to redesign, re-engineer the molds, and this is there. There's your presses right there.
You see, Stretch, what from an economics and politics.
Yeah, they're manufacturing something.
You know,
here.
this is
I know exactly what you're going, because this is a communist country that is doing it right.
And it took 4 months to put this manufacturing facility together, whereas in the U.S.
What's wrong with this picture?
We would have permits, Stretch, am I wrong?
Exactly.
Permits, regulatory
Exactly
involvement,
right.
That's exactly
all
right.
of these different situations it would take us for. And this is Trump's point. That, I believe that's his point. The question is, can we ever manufacture this here?
Good question. Toyota the 80s, I'll just tell the quick story.
It's a great story.
Okay, Toyota said, hey, how do we get in the American market? They said we can't manufacture our cars over there because we can't get a factory built, right?
So what did they do? They sent over parts, right?
They said, let's get the parts over there. We said, bring your parts here, assemble them. Guess what? American-made car, American assembled car. Toyota story, that
was in the 80s. I think I might have been a little young.
I'm saying too young for you. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to have these parts manufactured there. All the mold, everything's set. You saw the big presses as big as this room.
That discussion is taking place?
Right now.
Right now.
That's what
I'm trying to talk. Now, what I'm trying to do,
since
listen, you may be watching us all over the country. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a meeting. I have a meeting. So I want to bring it to San Diego. Okay. Get the manufacturing plant here in San Diego.
That's
right?
a beautiful thing.
Russ T. Nailz on our other broadcast on Big Biz Show, which is also on network television and several hundred radio stations, and also nationwide on American Forces Radio Network, talked to Stretch last week when he was on that show with us outside behind the studio. And here's a little clip of Russ, and I feel so bad to have put Stretch through that, but we'll let Russ take it away. Guys, roll that for us, would you?
Sunny day, first of all.
Wow, look at that.
Stretch and I are out here in front of the two vehicles we've been talking about. The little guy, the Ego, Nice flaming rojo color. Very sexy.
That's right. Exactly right. Remember, Rusty, this is 5 times stronger than steel, 5 times, and a third of the weight. So you're talking about a very, very strong material, Italian design and Italian concept that brought into China.
So this is the stuff like my real light golf clubs are made out of and that kind of stuff?
Exactly right.
You mentioned some military usage of the same product.
Actual military use it in Italy.
Yeah.
And how about a Bugatti?
How about a Bugatti? Do I got one on my nose? Forget about it. No. Well, let's take a look then inside this car. Have a go, an ego, if you will.
Hey, Russ, can I ask you? Can I ask you? Does it, like when you close the door, does it feel different because it's carbon fiber, or does it feel like a regular car?
Let me do that real quick because Stretch, if you'll talk Sully through what I'm doing and what I'm going to hear when I close the door, it's been compared to that Mercedes thud, that sound of silence. You're a reporter now. Carry on.
Okay, got it. Okay, so just step in there and then just slam it like as hard as you want, buddy.
Slam away.
Ready.
Wow. So now you can't you hear Russ yell. This is
I'm sick and tired of it.
Oh, there he is.
I didn't even hear it.
That's
No, really. That's a solid sounding car.
So
Look
Russ,
how good it looks in here. Take a shot inside. It looks like a little Italian roadster out there.
Exactly right. This is your economy car. This is your commuter car. In Vegas, there's 2 million people captured there. So this car, the average driver in Vegas drives 50 miles a day. Yeah. This car will be the workhorse. Okay.
These things get about 200 miles per charge, isn't it?
200 miles per charge. There's 3 packs. Okay, so you got a 17 kilowatt hour, 24 kilowatt hour, 33 kilowatt hour. So the 3 of these can run you around Vegas without a charge for 4 or 5 days.
Does the bigger car hold more battery power?
Now that's 800 pounds less weight than the Tesla S.
Okay, yeah.
And 800 pounds less weight, the same battery pack, so it will achieve about the same range, over 250 miles.
These are so cool. And again, this one I compare to like a Bentley kind of design, or what's the other one? The Rolls Royce kind of design.
All right, Rusty
Take a
Nailz.
peek inside that
Very
one
good.
too.
So first of all, fantastic job. And boy, did you hear the car slam? Did you hear the slam of the door?
I heard that.
What's it with about dudes and wanting to slam the doors? Because that's a big deal, isn't it?
It is.
Because you can't slam it and make it sound like a tin can. Is that now, Stretch? Is that a soundtrack, or is that what the car really sounds like?
That's
I can tell you, I was over there. I sat in it. I walked around in it. So talk about what we saw there, because really, kind of the proof of the pudding's watching what he talked about right there, and of course, Russ got in it, and that's the car that you're going to manufacture. That's the one.
car. That's the car we want to bring the pieces here, Kyle and Sully. As a simply planned in Vegas, or again, they've been so cooperative in Las Vegas. It's a wonderful place to work, environment, and they really need jobs there. Okay, so we can bring the elements there. We'll be set to go.
How has been the dialogue and the business discourse with the Chinese? Has it been pleasant?
Very pleasant.
Very kind?
We've had the leaders of the central government out to visit in Las Vegas. They certainly were wined and dined, and we had just all business, of course, but we had a nice time, nice business from both sets, and that happened last year.
Now, what was the black car in the back, Stretch? Tell me about that.
That's a car in development, okay? Everybody wants to see a big roadster, 5-passenger seater. That's a one-of-a-kind car. They put that together by hand. They actually built the carbon fiber pieces and molded it, put it by hand. That's a craftsmanship that they put together. So that car now, in the future, that's the future car that will be priced probably in the high 50,000s with incentives and government.
Which is completely so. Guys, go to the website and you'll be able to see that car that you're talking about. And what is the model of that vehicle? That's the Ego right there.
And the other one's called the IBIS. IBIS.
The IBIS, and that's the one that you saw. That actually car right there was the one that was parked out in back of the back of the studio there.
That's a nice one.
That looks like a Bentley. It looks like a Chrysler 300. It looks like many luxury cars. Yeah. And it's in the $50,000 range. And I can tell you, if you look inside of it, you think that you were inside of any luxury vehicle that was built in the States here, right?
That's right. So the game plan here, fellas, is to actually, go back to China, discuss the car, because we had it here for marketing, to see you guys and to get your response. Okay, the response has been overwhelming. We'll report that back. Say, listen, for the future, maybe a year from now, maybe a year and a half from now, start molding it up. Do a Toyota bit. Right. Bring those pieces in here. Put that black car together along with the. I mean, and
then you'll launch a regular ad campaign and the whole thing, and you get a dealer here in the west or in the Southwest. And you're
One more quick question. the carbon fiber comes from where? Where does that come from? Sand? Where does it?
Carbon.
A combination. It's a combination of materials. Okay, so like I think I explained to you saw the big presses there. So the special hot oil comes in.
Right.
This pressing material that made out of fiber, made out of resin, comes in, and they mold it together, make the strength, and then it's just over. I mean, you have such a high.
It's amazing.
Amazing strength.
Stretch, thank you so much. Will you come back with us?
My pleasure.
We're gonna continue following this company. It's really, for us, it's the birth of a public company. There's some great photographs there. 2050 Motors, 2050motors.com. Use the numerals, not spell it out. 2050motors.com. ETFM is the stock symbol. I'll tweet it out to our 40,000, and of course, it'll be this interview will be up at the YouTooAmerica.com link. I'll tell you what I'm not lamenting my losses about. I'm actually excited about meeting this guy because we met him last week in studio. His name is Stretch Fowler. Stretch is the executive director of 2050 Motors. They are a publicly traded company. Their website, 2050motors.com. Those are numerals, not alphabet. You have to spell it out, 2050motors.com. And ETFM is their stock symbol. And what you're seeing there for our radio or for our television audience, you heard them last week, and I know many of you, we picked up another affiliate, haven't heard this, but you're seeing their two vehicles, one of which is going into production, one of which will be in the future. But he joins us here in studio. Thank you, Stretch. Appreciate that. 2050 Motors, huh? Fantastic idea. And for the people that didn't hear you last time, kind of give us a 50-cent tour of what the company's about.
Well, Sully, as we mentioned, 3.5 years ago, we actually incorporated the company, 2050 Motors, under the Nevada Corporation. We've been 8 years in China. Our associations there are very strong, very deep, and so they offered us a opportunity to market and distribute exclusively to the USA because of our 20-year history way back with electric vehicles. That the opportunity was to, number one, bring in an Italian-designed, Italian manufacturing process of carbon fiber, and this is the first body. You saw the red car and the black car there. This is an all carbon fiber body with a extruded aluminum alloy frame, 5 times stronger than steel, 3 times the weight of steel, and so it's just a wonderful, unbelievable product. Our airplanes fly with it. Everything we do is carbon fiber now in the world, pieces of it. But this is the first all carbon fiber body.
So we're dealing with renewable fuel because it's an EV vehicle. We're dealing with a lighter car because you have aluminum chassis. You're dealing with carbon fiber, which is, what did you say, 3 times?
5 times stronger than steel.
And 3 times
lighter.
Imagine that, Kyle.
Wow.
5 times stronger than steel, 3 times lighter. So I want to show, can I show the crash again?
You want to show the crash first or the factory?
I want to show the crash first, then I want to show the factory. So the reason I want to show this crash first is very simple. We showed this last time, and the crash showed at 35 miles an hour in slow motion what this car is capable of doing as far as safety goes. And I'm just going to explain as it goes through here, and then I want to show you the factory it says. So I'm going to let you do the play-by-play on this a little bit. Stretch, guys, pull out that slow motion footage for us of the crash.
That 35 mile. This is slow motion now. This is the Ego. Now it's going to hit that wall, and now you'll see the absolutely unbelievable strength to actually take the cushion of the blow, and now come back out. And one more time now, the crash dummy driver had all the right tickets for airbags. The passenger did not, and they both survived without any problems.
Well, if you look at this, as it comes down, Kyle, you notice that the car's in the exact same shape it was in the beginning?
Really?
So you saw it crumple, but then it pops back into shape, as you can see here. Now, obviously, there's some the black on the driver's side fender. That's paint that came off, and you see the piece of the front quarter panel that popped up. You pop that back into shape, but look, it didn't crumple. It's in the same shape it was when it started.
Really amazing.
Safety is a big factor here. If I was a mother and had 2 children, I want my 2 children in the back seat of that car when I'm driving down the freeway or driving down to the market or any place.
Okay, for our radio audience who didn't see that, I'll post that up at BigBizShow.com, and I'll put the link to that to our Twitter followers so all of you can see that. Stretch, let's talk about how you make these things, because I think what's important is we've got a video on the manufacturing plant. I think one of the biggest pieces of this thing is you'll see here, I know Kyle's going to have a comment because he did when he first time he saw the video, about how manufacturing is done in China versus how manufacturing is done here in the U.S. And it's frightening to see how a communist country could sort of do it right without having all of the red tape. Now, take it away as we're showing this, because this, I want to first say this, Stretch. What we're about to see, this thing was built in 4 months. Is that what you said?
4 months, exactly.
Guys, roll that footage of the manufacturing plant.
I was actually there in the vacant lot with our crew and partners right here. Vacant lot, September 2014 and January 20th, which you'll see the grand opening. But they actually built a total manufacturing capable of making 22,000 Egos. And this is one of the main milestones of any new car company. First of all, designed by Italian, the process from Italy, and then they have this wonderful technology be brought here to a factory. There's your big presses.
Wow.
The unbelievable. You'll see the robotic welding for the aluminum extruded chassis. So this is an actual factory ready to go. There, right there. There's your press. The resin goes in there. There's your robotic welders right there. So this factory produced 25 cars for the China government to test, 30,000 miles endurance, and the crash testing that you just viewed. So this is it should be 20,000 vehicles there, but this is an absolute ready-to-go plant that this July will make 25 more models. Because the crash test now, they re-engineered it, looked at any weak spots, so the molds are being redone, and they're done. So we will have our 8 cars. Our next milestone is crash testing DOT.
Okay.
And so we'll have our 8 models here, and we crash test them, and then once we have that done, we're ready for the road.
I was going to show Rusty's footage of you here, but I'm going to wait until the next segment. I'm going to keep you longer here, Stretch, because I want to talk a little bit about the company itself. You told a story to me last time you were on the air about the Toyota story, and this is very interesting here, because I think this will sort of align everything together for you in your mind, how you can have a car company in China literally manufacturing cars in the States. You're building a manufacturing plant, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're building the parts, right?
That's right.
Talk about that.
That's right. The most important thing is you have your molded parts, and to assemble them is really easy. I hate to say easy, but it is easy once you have it all engineered out onto the aluminum alloy chassis. What Toyota did back in the 80s is that they said, how do we get our car into America? So what they did, somebody had a bright idea. They said, look, why don't you just bring the pieces in? Let Americans assemble it, then you have an assembled American car. So this is the idea that Toyota did. History is history now. So we can do the same thing. Set up an assembly plant in the Vegas area, bring in the extruded parts that are already ready to go, put up the frames that are already ready to made, all robotically built, stack them in containers, bring them over here, assemble them here. I think we have a winner, guys.
That is of great interest to me.
So
Stretch,
Kyle,
I'm chomping at the bit here.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because Kyle is our not only a business commentator but a political commentator. This is the intersection of business and politics in your mind. Is this perfect?
This is so sweet. Stretch.
So
I
tell
want
us.
those
Take it away,
assembly plants in Madison, Wisconsin, in Austin, Texas, in Carson City, Nevada, Southern California, where we sit right now. I mean, to put people back to work here in the U.S. on the assembly lines would be a dream come true. So I applaud your thought processes about trying to transition that. While I respect the product a great deal, and I would love to see some of the assembly take place right here.
Yeah, you seem grieved about this a little bit.
I'm angered by the fact that a lot of this takes place overseas, and so this happens to be a point of contention for me.
I would have to ask you the question, and when we come back, we're going to talk about there's this the 400-pound gorilla in the room is Tesla, and we got to talk about it. I'm going to tell you what, you're not going to believe the stats between this and Tesla, but more importantly, I think we have to sort of talk about the fact that could you have done this? Could you have built a manufacturing facility that fast in this state, in this country? Could you have created a car that quickly in this country? And could you have exported it somewhere that quickly? When we come back, we're going to talk about exactly that because Stretch Fowler is going to try to calm down, or maybe he won't. Maybe he'll incite Kyle Harrington.
I'm going to take some medication at the break.
Because look at what's been done here. That video was taken. That empty field was last September. We were still. It was the last baseball season.
Do you not agree that would never be able to be done here in the States at this current time?
All right, we'll tell you what. We go back. He's going to answer that. So that was September of 2014. Here we are, May of 2016. They got a manufacturing plant done. They got cars out. They're crash testing it. That's a year and a half last time I checked. Stand by. Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com.
Wait a second, man. What do you think the team is doing this year?
Been talking about the little guy, the ego, Nice flaming rojo color. Very sexy.
That's right. Exactly right. Remember, Rusty, this is 5 times stronger than steel, 5 times, and a third of the weight. So you're talking about a very, very strong material, Italian design and Italian concept that brought into China.
So this is the stuff like my real light golf clubs are made out of and that kind of stuff?
Exactly right.
You mentioned some military usage of the same product.
Actual military use it in Italy.
Yeah.
And how about a Bugatti?
How about a Bugatti? Do I got one on my nose? Forget about it. No. Well, let's take a look then inside this car. Have a go, an ego, if you will.
Hey, Russ, can I ask you? Can I ask you? Does it, like when you close the door, does it feel different because it's carbon fiber, or does it feel like a regular car?
Let me do that real quick because Stretch, if you'll talk Sully through what I'm doing and what I'm going to hear when I close the door, it's been compared to that Mercedes thud, that sound of silence. You're a reporter now. Carry on.
Okay, got it. Okay, so just step in there and then just slam it like as hard as you want, buddy.
Slam away.
Ready.
Wow. So now you can't you hear Russ yell. This is
I'm sick and tired of it.
Oh, there he is.
I can't even hear it. No, really. That's a solid sounding car.
So
Look
Russ,
how good it looks in here. Take a shot inside. It again. It looks like a little Italian roadster out there.
Exactly right. This is your economy car. This is your commuter car. In Vegas, there's 2 million people captured there. So this car, the average driver in Vegas drives 50 miles a day. Yeah. This car will be the workhorse. Okay.
These things get about 200 miles per charge, isn't it?
200 miles per charge. There's 3 packs. Okay, so you got a 17 kilowatt hour, 24 kilowatt hour, 33 kilowatt hour. So the 3 of these can run you around Vegas without a charge for 4 or 5 days. No.
Does the bigger car hold more battery power?
Now that's 800 pounds less weight than the Tesla S.
Okay, yeah.
And 800 pounds less weight, the same battery pack, so it will achieve about the same range, over 250 miles.
These are so cool. And again, this one I compare to like a Bentley kind of design, or what's the other one? The Rolls Royce kind of design. Take a peek inside that one too. Talk about this car a little bit.
Okay, so this car here now will be ready for production probably a year later, because we're going to focus on the economy car first. Yeah.
Now, Sully, I think I got you. You're in line for a new car, aren't you?
Yeah, I think about this time next year, I'll be behind the wheel of one of those deals. Can you? Hey, first of all, on the Russ, real quickly on the first car, do we regular speeds goes up to 65 miles an hour? How fast do these things go?
The Ego, kind of miles per hour can you reach on that thing?
This is your standard 0 to 60. There's not a consumer car in this line of cars right here that this car cannot equal 0 to 60 miles.
Oh my goodness.
That's that electric rush you get. Remember slot cars when you would push the little button down, you go, and they would take off, fly around the corner and just go off? Yeah.
That's exactly
That's the same kind of experience. Exactly. And this one behind me again, what is the name of this one? The Chinese bird?
IBIS.
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 The IBIS. And again, it's a 4-seater. It's a touring.
Wow, that's good stuff, Stretch. You never answered my question. How fast does that car go? I heard how fast the Ego went.
I know.
You know?
90 miles an hour, he said.
How fast does it go?
Okay, so what you have here is the Ego goes 90 miles. That's right, Kyle.
That's the
90
red
miles
car.
an hour. The black IBIS will go over 100, no problem.
No kidding.
No problem.
Wow.
And they both will go 0 to 60, 6 seconds, 7 seconds. So it's just your standard car. A lot of pickup, a lot of start.
Wow.
A lot of parking.
I have to applaud you for handling that interview with Rusty.
Yeah.
I know that's a different thing. That's got to be tough.
You said Russ's Ego goes 90 miles an hour.
It really does.
Yeah, not just the car.
Okay, so I got to bring this up, and I do this with some trepidation. The 400-pound gorilla in the room has a stock symbol TSLA, Tesla. Okay,
That's right.
So I got to ask the question. So compare and contrast for me with Tesla, sort of where 2050 Motors is and the Ego versus Tesla, because one of the things you mentioned out there is the battery pack on your car weighs as much as the whole Tesla car.
That's exactly right.
Continue. Keep going.
Believe me, Sully, we're not here to knock anybody. We're here to certainly just bring.
Well, I am.
Okay.
I get to do that.
One of our shareholders handed me this before I left this morning and said, look, he says, just quote the fact, LA Times, March 5th, Tesla's losses for the first quarter 2016, 282 million, 0.3, wow, versus 152 million, 0.2 last year. So they lost twice as much money in 1 year.
So as a money manager, when your people call you up and say, I want to buy Tesla, is that something you look at the losses?
That's the fundamental analysis that we do. We take a look at that. Now that right there, I was not aware of, but I'm shocked by those numbers. I'm curious what you think about that.
May I continue?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Now the sales rose. Sales rose 2%. Okay. They rose to 1.15 billion with a B versus 940 million.
Okay, so revenue's up.
Revenue's up. So the old adage, and
They're
you're not old
controlling
enough,
their expenses.
That's
just
exactly-
increase sales and the profits will take care of themselves.
Yeah, not necessarily.
No, absolutely.
Of course not.
Well, but there's
fellas.
something significant about this, though, because and I'm just going to say this out loud because I've read it and I've seen it. You don't have to sell that many cars to be profitable.
Oh, Sully, I really applaud you. This is from a press release.
Yeah.
Okay, very, very quickly. Thank you for the time. Large automobile companies like Tesla have to recapture hundreds of millions of dollars that they've invested in creation of their vehicle. We are debt free. 2050 Motors is debt free. So right now, all the expense has been spent in China. All the manufacturing is spent in China. Our future's ahead of us.
Yeah.
We passed DOT testing.
Sure.
We're on the road with a very safe, the safest vehicle that I'd put my 15-year-old daughter in. No problem. No problem.
And at the end of the day, it doesn't take you to sell very many cars to become profitable. And I think
Exactly right,
that's the
Sully.
big piece of this thing.
That's exactly right.
2050motors.com is the website. 2050 Motors is the name of the company, and of course ETFM. They are publicly traded. I have to ask. So that let's talk about the IBIS for a second because that's the car of the future, correct? That's the
car of the future.
So
That's right.
basically, the one that we hope to get through DOT, like we talked about last time, and get the crash test done. I think we got 7 or 8 cars coming from China to do just that.
That's right.
When that happens, that's when you roll it out, and then we do the big ad campaign. And I know you're going to start here in the Southwest, and for the rest of the country, if you're new to the program, we broadcast out of San Diego, even though you hear us maybe in New York City or Miami or something. But that black car is called the IBIS. That's the future car.
That's the future car, probably a year or two down the road. The reason being is that they have to, we have to, we brought it over here, we showcased it, absolute phenomenal, just like Kyle. I want the black car. Of course you do.
I want to see
Of
the
course you do.
SUV.
But that's
Is
coming
that on
too.
the way?
A SUV is coming too on the blackboard. Okay.
Boy.
Okay.
But the real thing is that with the real purpose here is that Las Vegas is a captured area. Okay. The red car is a commuter car. That's to go in 50 miles a day, school, work,
Soccer
pick up the
practice,
children, soccer
baseball
practice,
all that
and the safe car.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stretch, it's always a pleasure. We want to have you back. I think we need to make you the expert in EV and, of course, alternate fuel vehicles, as
Yes.
well as, there are 3 pretty significant things. You have aluminum chassis, you have an electronic, you have a battery operated car, and then you also have the fact it's made of carbon fiber. So I would say that there's 3 boxes checked that Tesla can't do. And if I just want to repeat this one more time. They don't have to sell that many cars to become profitable, but even more interesting is that the entire battery pack for a Tesla weighs more than the whole car.
The whole car, curbside weight.
Fantastic
Exactly.
stuff. Thank you so much, Stretch. Stretch Fowler, 2050 Motors. We kept him way longer than I told him we would.
Glad we did.
I'm glad we did too. Fantastic stuff there. Coming up, Kyle and I got some news. We're going to talk about the market and the intersection of business and politics. I know Kyle has a few things to say about what's going on with the manufacturing in China versus the manufacturing in the U.S. It is the Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. Follow us on Twitter at Big Biz Radio or at Sully on the Air. We'll see you in a minute.
I call ya. You ain't. What's this cold reaction?
We just had Stretch Fowler on from 2050 Motors.
Very interesting. Jeez.
Well, the company's interesting in itself, but I want to get away from that for a second. Just talk about what you saw. Guys, can we roll that footage again of the plant being manufactured and such? And I'm throwing this at Murph probably fast. But the 2050 Motors manufacturing plant, which we showed, we're going to show this again for you because it's such a commentary on how things are done here versus how things are done there. That's in September 2014. And now we're at May 2016. And in that time, they built a manufacturing plant inside of 4 months. Then they put together the molds to put the car together. And what you're watching here is this manufacturing plant be put together, and I would say, Kyle, without the red tape, right?
As you speak, my blood pressure rises.
Because what you're seeing
start.
here, what you see here is not a car manufacturing facility. And there's one of the molds, by the way.
I
What
see
you
middle
here,
class job opportunities for everyone.
Yeah.
And I'd like to have those facilities in the United States. And I think what stretches onto with respect to what happened in the 80s with Toyota.
10,000 vehicles per shift, annual capacity. How do you like that?
I'd like to see the assembly take place in the United States.
So that's exactly what they're doing. What they're doing is they're going to put together a manufacturing facility. Right now, it's slated for Las Vegas, Nevada. I'd like to see it come to San Diego.
Me too.
Which I'd love to broker that deal. But can I tell you though, what's interesting about this entire process, and there's sort of the finished process there, is that could you do this at all? And there's the assembly line. Boy, I mean, can you say anything more? Does a picture give you 1,000 words?
It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, look at it.
But with
you see the aluminum flame, you see the carbon fiber vehicle.
With the legal environment and regulatory environment that we are currently in, Sully.
There's Stretch right there.
What a handsome guy, isn't he?
He is. But the point I'm trying to make is, with the regulatory environment the way you have it,
It's not going to happen here.
Listen, what you're basically telling me, Kyle, is that I can't build a manufacturing plant here to create legitimately 15,000 jobs and the trickle-down economy for every city that's in.
And let me take it a step further. Imagine 15,000 new jobs in that Department of Labor report.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then another 15,000 jobs in another city.
Well, where would you? So Carson.
real.
So I would build Carson City, Nevada. I'd
Carson
put
City?
San Diego, California. Okay. I would build it in.
Got to go to Texas.
Got to go to Texas for sure. And maybe another couple of states with no state taxes in it. Las Vegas, Nevada would not be a bad place to put it.
Okay.
You mentioned Wisconsin.
I mentioned Madison, Wisconsin.
Madison, Wisconsin.
How about Detroit,
Flint,
Michigan?
How about Flint,
Michigan?
Flint, Michigan.
How would that be?
I
Would
mean,
that revive the city?
Well, I think it would, and I think the idea behind it is that he mentioned it before, and I certainly didn't intend to make this the 2050 Motors Hour, but he brings up so many things that are so much wrong. I mean, think about that. I mean, the Toyota story, where Toyota, and did you guys recognize the name Toyota? Has everyone owned a Toyota in this building? Yes. Okay. The long story short is those guys did exactly this model. They didn't send cars over from Japan. They sent parts over from Japan. And they assembled them here in the good old United States.
I think, Sully, it's important to connect the dots on another piece, which is back to the Department of Labor report, the jobs report that comes out the first Friday of every month.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Okay? If you can add to that 15,000 or 20,000 jobs as a result of what Stretch has created here,
yes,
you see the effect in the stock market. The stock market rises because they say, wow.
Right.
15,000 new sustainable long-term jobs.
Right.
And then the confidence level builds. And then we continue along a path of success. I'm uncertain. That's what I think the political environment right now needs to address. And I think that's the intersection between business and politics.
Well, a bigger question for me is, and I can say this to you wholeheartedly. I see the need. I can see the cost-benefit analysis. I can see the financial need analysis involved in this thing. Can Washington, and look, I don't want to get into a rhetorical discussion about Washington.
Okay.
What I want to get into is a discussion about, let's say that we have term limits on our politicians where they're one and done.
Okay.
Maybe a senator's two and done, but that's it.
Okay.
At that point, it removes the agenda of getting reelected. At that point, can you see something like this happening?
Yes, and I
think that's the only thing.
I think you bring up a very pertinent point, and also I think the beginning of that narrative happens with an anti-establishment person. Okay. So in this case, it would be Trump, right? Someone that is a business experienced individual that doesn't have the political brainwashing of D.C. at the current time. That's how I think we start the process. And then you're correct. Term limits will continue along that dialogue. And whether it's one or done or it's two terms, however, but it's got to be something, Sully. You can't be a career politician influencing the U.S. forever.
I think, look, the thing that gets me the most and the thing that bothers me the most, okay, is that we have a panacea here for the labor problem in the U.S. We have a panacea for the economy. I mean, what's the number one thing that every economist, from Alan Ginn all the way up to the academic Ben Bernanke, who is our Fed chairman, what's the first thing they'll tell you we've lost here in this country? Manufacturing. Manufacturing is the number one thing that we have lost as a country. I mean, 2050 Motors, by the way, may not be manufacturing cars, but they're assembling. It's the next best thing.
Absolutely. It's a start.
Do you know who else does that? TaylorMade Golf.
Is that right?
Owned by Adidas. TaylorMade assembles their clubs here in San Diego, California.
Okay.
Now, once again, if you're new to the program, we broadcast out of San Diego. But they assemble the clubs out of their Carlsbad facility.
Okay.
The pieces are manufactured in China and other parts of the world. But and look at the model that they created. It's $1 billion company. Look how many people they employ. In the city of San Diego alone, okay?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, they do. They employ close to, I don't know, 2,500 people just in one little city, okay? Imagine the rest of the country. So this model here could be the model that we all could be using to sort of, and we talked about this yesterday on the program. What got us out of the Great Depression? The Conservation Corps and building our interstate highways and our national parks. We gave jobs to people. Okay, we manufactured roads. There's the manufacturing word again. There's two ways to do this again. Number one, you create businesses like that 2050 Motors that is creating manufacturing plants. Now, and I'm not talking about maquiladoras where we're bringing it across the border here in Mexico. I'm talking about here in our four corners here. We bring them here and you create instant jobs and instant economic impact and direct spending. And by the way, taxes.
But what's the important thing to note, Sully? In this case, it's the government getting out of the way, right?
Well, sure. And again, you only get perspective when you sign the front of a paycheck. Think of it that way.
That's for sure.
If you can think in terms of that, that's great. Kyle Harrington in for Rusty Nailz. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about a little bit of news here. Talk about road rage. Well, speaking of cars, we got to talk about road rage.
Road rage, wow.
Yes. The worst time of day for road rage. We're going to tell you about that coming up.
Did we ask Stretch that about road rage? No?
Stretch doesn't get road rage. He's driving an electronic vehicle that's made out of carbon fiber. He's happy all the time.
He looks very centered
He's
and
going to
very
change the
smooth.
entire world and make everybody happy. All right. Sully here. Kyle Harrington there. Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com. Stand by. We're back in a minute.